My name is Rachel Torres. I'm 22 years old, and last month I graduated from nursing school with honors. But when my name was called to walk across that stage, my father stood up and walked out of the auditorium. As he passed my row, he said loud enough for everyone to hear, "I don't celebrate failures." I stood there, frozen in front of 500 people, humiliated, until a man in the back row stood up, a man my father knew very well, and what he said next made my father's face go completely white. What did that man say? Stay until the end to find out, and if your family ever called your dreams a failure, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments what you proved them wrong about. My father, Miguel Torres, is a successful corporate lawyer. He works 80-hour weeks at one of the biggest law firms in Chicago. He makes $500,000 a year, and he's been planning my life since I was born. In his mind, I had one path: prestigious university, law school, corporate law career, just like him. The problem? I never wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a nurse. From the time I was 10 years old, I knew I loved helping people. I loved science. I loved the idea of making a real difference in someone's life. But every time I mentioned it, Dad would shut me down. Nursing? That's a job for people who couldn't get into medical school. You're too smart to be a nurse, Rachel. You should be a doctor at minimum. I didn't work this hard to raise a daughter who empties bedpans for a living. Mom would try to mediate. Miguel, if that's what makes her happy. Happy doesn't pay the bills, Maria. Rachel is going to law school. End of discussion. So I stopped talking about it. I pretended to go along with his plan, applied to pre-law programs, told him what he wanted to hear. But inside, I was planning my escape. Senior year of high school, I applied to nursing programs in secret, used Mom's email so Dad wouldn't see the confirmations, wrote my essays in the school library. I got accepted to 5 schools. I chose the University of Illinois nursing program. Great reputation. Close enough to home that I could visit Mom, far enough that Dad couldn't control me. The day I told him was a disaster. We were at dinner. Dad was talking about law school rankings, which firms recruited from which schools. His entire plan for my life laid out like a business proposal. Dad, I need to tell you something. He looked up from his steak. What? I'm not going to law school. I applied to nursing programs. I got accepted to U of I. I'm going to be a nurse. The silence was deafening. Then Dad laughed. Actually laughed. Good one, Rachel. You almost had me. I'm serious. His face changed. No, absolutely not. You're not throwing away your future to be a nurse. It's not throwing it away. It's what I want. You're 18 years old. You don't know what you want. Yes, I do. And I'm doing this with or without your support. Dad stood up. Then you'll do it without my money, too. You want to be a nurse? Fine. Pay for it yourself. See how far that gets you. Mom grabbed his arm. Miguel, please. No, Maria. She wants to make adult decisions. She can face adult consequences. Not a penny from me. He left the table. I sat there shaking. Mom squeezed my hand. He'll come around. He just needs time. But he didn't come around. He doubled down. Dad didn't speak to me for 4 years. Not on my birthday. Not on holidays. Not ever. When I moved into my dorm, Mom helped me. Dad stayed home. When I came home for Thanksgiving freshman year, Dad ate dinner in his office. Wouldn't even sit at the same table as me. He's being stubborn, Mom said. He'll realize he's wrong eventually. But year after year, nothing changed. I worked 3 part-time jobs to pay for school. Federal loans covered tuition. I covered rent, food, books, everything else. I worked in the campus cafeteria, babysat on weekends, tutored during exam season. Some nights I got 4 hours of sleep. But I was doing it. I was making it work. My roommate Jen would watch me come home exhausted at midnight, study until 2 a.m., and wake up at 6 for clinical rotations. Your dad is insane, she'd say. You're working harder than anyone I know. He thinks I'm failing, I said. I'm going to prove him wrong. And I did. I made Dean's List every semester. I graduated in the top 5% of my class. I got a job offer from Northwestern Memorial Hospital, one of the best hospitals in Chicago, before I even graduated. I sent Dad an invitation to my graduation, included a note, "I hope you'll be there. This means everything to me." He never responded. The morning of graduation, I woke up at 6 a.m. in my tiny apartment. My cap and gown were hanging on the door. 4 years of work, 4 years of proving myself, all coming down to this day. Mom called. "I'm so proud of you, mija. I'll be in the third row." "Is Dad coming?" Silence. He said he'd think about it. My heart sank. "So, that's a no." "I don't know, honey, but I'll be there, and I'll be cheering loud enough for both of us." I got ready slowly, put on the stupid polyester gown, positioned the cap just right, looked at myself in the mirror. I looked like a nurse. I looked like the person I'd always wanted to be. At the auditorium, I found my classmates in the staging area. Everyone was excited, taking pictures, hugging, crying happy tears. Jen found me. "Your parents here?" "My mom is. Dad's. Unclear." "His loss," she said. "You're amazing, Rachel, with or without him." The ceremony started. We filed in. I scanned the audience as I walked to my seat, found Mom in the third row waving. The seat next to her was empty. He wasn't coming. I swallowed hard and took my seat. The dean gave a speech about service and dedication, about how nurses are the backbone of healthcare, about how proud she was of our class. I barely heard it. I kept glancing at that empty seat next to Mom. Then, halfway through the ceremony, someone slid into it. "Dad." He looked uncomfortable. His arms were crossed. His face was hard. But he was there. Mom grabbed his hand and smiled at me. I smiled back, hope fluttering in my chest. Maybe he'd come around. Maybe seeing me graduate would change his mind. They started calling names. Row by row, students walked across the stage. Each one got applause. Each one got their moment. My row stood up. "Rachel Torres." I walked toward the stage, my heart pounding. This was it, the moment I'd worked for, the moment I'd sacrificed everything for. I glanced at the audience one more time. Mom was crying, clapping wildly. Dad was standing, walking up the aisle, leaving. As he passed the end of my row, I heard him say it, clear as day. "I don't celebrate failures." The people around him gasped. Someone whispered, "Did he just say what I think he said?" I froze halfway to the stage. Everyone was looking at me. The dean was holding my diploma. The photographer was waiting. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Then a voice rang out from the back of the auditorium, loud, clear, authoritative. "Actually, Miguel, this is the opposite of failure. This is one of the most impressive things I've seen in my career." Everyone turned. A man in his 60s was standing, silver hair, expensive suit. He looked important. I didn't recognize him at first, but my dad did. His face went completely white. "Rachel Torres," the man continued, "is the only student in this graduating class who paid her own way through school. She worked 3 jobs. She maintained a 3.9 gigapascals. She's been offered a position at Northwestern Memorial, which only hires the top 2% of nursing graduates." He started walking down the aisle toward the stage. She did all of this without support from her family, without financial help, without encouragement. She did it because she has passion, dedication, and more courage than most people I know. My heart was racing. Who was this man? "So no, Miguel," he said, looking directly at my father. "This isn't failure. This is extraordinary success. And if you can't see that, then you're the failure, not your daughter." The entire auditorium erupted in applause. People stood up, cheered. Someone started chanting, "Rachel! Rachel!" I stood there in shock. The man reached the stage, extended his hand to me. "Congratulations, Rachel. I'm David Chen. I'm the managing partner at Goldman & Associates." Goldman & Associates, my father's law firm. "Oh my God, this was Dad's boss." "I've heard a lot about you, mister." Chen continued. "Your mother works as a paralegal in our office. She's told me about your journey, about what you've accomplished. I wanted to be here today to honor that." "My mother works at Dad's firm? I didn't even know that." Mr. Chen turned to address the audience. "I have 3 daughters. One is a lawyer, one is a teacher, one is a nurse. I love them all equally, because success isn't about what job you have. It's about character, work ethic, integrity, and Rachel Torres has all 3 in abundance." More applause. He turned back to me. "Northwestern Memorial is lucky to have you, and I predict you'll be running that hospital someday." He shook my hand firmly, then walked back to his seat. The dean, looking completely stunned, handed me my diploma. "Congratulations, Rachel. You've certainly earned this." I walked off stage in a daze. My classmates were high-fiving me. Jen was crying. Even people I barely knew were congratulating me. But all I could think about was my father. After the ceremony ended, I found Mom in the crowd. She was crying. "I'm sorry," she said. "I'm so sorry about your father." "Mom, you work at his firm? Why didn't you tell me?" She looked embarrassed. "I started 2 years ago. We needed the money after your father cut you off. His salary is good, but with you paying for school yourself, I wanted to help without him knowing. And Mr. Chen? I told him about you, about what you were doing. He was so impressed. He asked if he could come today. I didn't think he actually would." "Where's Dad now?" "He left, right after Mr. Chen spoke. He was. Rachel, I've never seen him so angry or so ashamed." Good, I thought. He should be ashamed. I found Dad in the parking lot. He was sitting in his car, hands on the steering wheel, staring at nothing. I knocked on the window. He looked at me, then looked away. I opened the passenger door and got in. "We need to talk." "There's nothing to say." "There's a lot to say, starting with why you just humiliated me in front of 500 people. I didn't humiliate you. You humiliated yourself by throwing away your potential." "My potential?" I laughed bitterly. "Dad, I'm graduating with honors. I have a job at one of the best hospitals in the country. I did all of that with zero help from you. How is that throwing away my potential? You could have been a lawyer." "I didn't want to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a nurse. And I am, and I'm damn good at it." He was quiet. "Your boss just told you I was successful," I continued, "in front of everyone, including your colleagues, and you still can't admit you were wrong?" He doesn't understand. "No, Dad, you don't understand. I'm not you. I never wanted to be you. I wanted to help people in a different way, and I'm doing it. I'm living my dream, not yours." Tears were streaming down my face now. "You called me a failure on the most important day of my life. Do you know how much that hurt?" "Rachel, I worshipped you growing up. I wanted you to be proud of me so badly, but nothing I did was ever enough, because I didn't choose the life you wanted. I just wanted you to be successful. I am successful, but you're too stubborn to see it." We sat in silence for a long time. Then Dad spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "David Chen called me into his office last week." I looked at him. "He told me about you, about what your mother had been telling him. He said he wanted to attend your graduation. I told him it was family business, that it wasn't appropriate." Dad's hands tightened on the steering wheel. He said, "Miguel, if you walk out of that graduation, if you continue to treat your daughter like a disappointment, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. And I'll lose respect for you as a colleague and a man." "But you walked out anyway," I said. "I did, because I was too proud to admit I was wrong, too angry that you didn't follow my plan, too stubborn to see what was right in front of me." He finally looked at me. His eyes were red. And then David stood up and said all those things, and everyone in that room knew. They knew I was wrong. They knew I was the failure, not you. A tear rolled down his cheek. In my entire life, I'd never seen my father cry. "You're right," he said. "You're successful. You're accomplished. You're everything I should have wanted in a daughter, and I was too blind to see it." "Why, Dad? Why couldn't you just support me?" "Because my father did the same thing to me," he admitted. "He wanted me to be an engineer like him. When I chose law school, he cut me off, didn't speak to me for 5 years. By the time we reconciled, so much damage had been done." I stared at him. "So you knew exactly how this felt, and you did it to me anyway?" I told myself it was different, that I was protecting you from making a mistake, but I was just repeating the cycle, being just as stubborn, just as wrong. "I don't know if I can forgive you," I said honestly. "You missed everything. 4 years of my life. You missed my Dean's List ceremonies. You missed my first clinical rotation. You missed me crying in my apartment because I was so tired and broke and scared. You missed all of it because of your pride." "I know," he whispered, "and I hate myself for it." "Good," I said. "You should." We sat there in silence. "What do you want from me?" I finally asked. "Why did you even come today if you were just going to leave?" "I came because your mother begged me to, and I left because when I saw you up there, saw how proud you looked, I realized I had no part in any of it. You did it all without me, and that terrified me." "Why?" "Because it meant you didn't need me. It meant I'd failed as a father." "You did fail," I said, "but not because I became a nurse. You failed because you put your ego above your daughter." He nodded, accepting it. "So what now?" I asked. "I want to try," he said. "I want to be part of your life again. I want to watch you become the incredible nurse I know you'll be, but I understand if you don't want that. I understand if I've lost you forever." It took time, months of difficult conversations, family therapy that Dad initially resisted but eventually committed to. He came to the hospital once to see where I worked, watched me with patience, saw me save a man's life during a cardiac emergency. Afterward, he said, "You were right. This is what you were meant to do." It was the first time he'd admitted it without qualifiers or conditions. We're not perfect. We probably never will be. There's still tension sometimes, still moments where his old attitudes slip through. But he's trying, really trying. He showed up to my 6-month work anniversary, brought flowers, met my colleagues, told them, "I'm Rachel's father. I'm proud of her." Mom cried. So did I. Mr. Chen became an unexpected mentor. He checks in on me occasionally, asks how work is going, reminds me that I made the right choice. "Your father talks about you now," he told me recently, "at the office, to clients. He brags about having a daughter who's a nurse, says you're tougher than any lawyer he knows." That made me smile. Last month, Dad had a minor heart scare, chest pains. They brought him to Northwestern Memorial. I wasn't his nurse, hospital policy doesn't allow that, but I was there. And he saw me in action, saw how I coordinated his care, how I advocated for him with doctors, how I made sure he was comfortable and informed. When he was discharged, he hugged me in the parking lot, a real hug, the first one in years. "Thank you," he said, "not just for today, for everything, for being strong enough to follow your dream even when I tried to stop you." "You're welcome, Dad. I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed me, but I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere." "Good," I said, "because I need my dad." We're rebuilding, slowly, carefully, but we're doing it. Today, I'm a successful nurse at one of the best hospitals in Chicago. I love my job. I love helping people. I love the life I built for myself. My father and I have a relationship now. It's not perfect, but it's honest, and that's enough. That graduation day changed everything. Mr. Chen's words didn't just defend me. They opened my father's eyes, forced him to see what he'd been missing. Sometimes it takes a stranger to tell you what your family can't. Sometimes it takes public humiliation to break through years of stubbornness. I don't regret my choices. I would choose nursing 1,000 times over, because it's who I am. So let me ask you, if someone called your dreams a failure, would you give up or prove them wrong? Drop your answer in the comments, and hit that subscribe button because your path is yours to choose, not theirs.